So, Dr. Ivan, you are a Chief Data Officer and co-founder of AI Superior. You will be speaking about AI in smart cities and surveillance on the 3rd of June at COMEX AI. Please, can you give us a brief introduction about yourself?
Yeah, thank you. So my name is Ivan Tankoyeu. I have a PhD in computer science. I'm currently held the position of Chief Data Officer and Managing Director of AI Superior. AI Superior is working on numerous problems related to AI and data science, and we are proud to be invited to the COMEX. So it's a good opportunity for us to showcase different use cases relevant to AI and how they help for society, for business, for government on different aspects, especially smart city and the surveillance. So a few words about myself. As I said, I did a PhD in computer science almost 8 years ago in the field of machine learning and unsupervised learning for analysis and indexing of media, especially photo. And through all these 8 years, I was heavily involved in AI and data science, so mainly from academia, but also from business environment. So I started my career as a senior data scientist and a professional career as a senior data scientist 5 years ago, and then grow to the lead and eventually to head of data science. And at this point, I decided to shift to my own venture and founded AI Superior.
Right, that's a very interesting background that you have and a very in-depth experience. The concept or the industry of smart cities is very big. I think there's a lot of different uses and applications of AI in smart cities, including advanced security cameras, vehicle parking, traffic management, face cameras, movement, relating to things like public safety, security, smart waste as well. What other uses and applications in smart cities do you see AI really adding value to companies, government, and society?
Right. Yes, very good question. Apart from security, it's also a huge topic of urban planning, right? How the city would evolve, and what kind of government should do to make the cities a happy place for people who lives in it, right? So, and with help of AI and satellite imagery analysis, you can define the spots where the city requires more, let's say, additional schools or additional, infrastructure to keep up with the speed of city involvement. So with this, in this sense, you can, and so there are two, let's say, two main aspects which allows to build to provide these solutions for smart cities. First aspect is availability of satellite data, satellite imagery data, which became quite cheap and even sometimes provided for free. And the second aspect is the development of AI algorithm and computational power to crunch these numbers. So, and taking these two aspects, it provides a possibility to detect up even cars or detect buildings, detect roads, and so on and so forth. So detect different objects from satellite imagery. And once it's detected, you can understand to what extent this buildings or infrastructure is good enough to serve the citizens, right? So, for example, you can estimate to what extent the city have enough parks, or to what extent the parks are healthy in terms of plants, whether the plants is healthy or it requires some potash or it requires some more watering. So and so on and so forth. This is one example of using of satellite imagery. Another example, which is became quite popular, is detecting the leak of water, right? So surprisingly, but satellite imagery allows also to penetrate the ground and see what is underground. So and detects the leak of water, which is really a huge problem sometimes, especially due to the lack of. It requires a lot of manual intervention. It requires a lot of control and so on and so forth. But with satellite imagery, it gives you a huge. It's give a huge impact in the infrastructure management.
Great. And how much do you know about the smart cities in the GCC Gulf region and Oman? Has there been a lot of development? Is it still quite new in this region?
I see the GCC region is quite focused on the smart cities. I see it from United Arab Emirates, where they are focusing on developing the smart city and measuring the happiness of the people, right, and measuring the happiness of tourists. I see the initiative from Saudi Arabia in NEOM in developing this new city, line city. And I see that Oman is also keeping up with the speed and trying to introduce this smart city and deploy it in the cities, which is quite good. And in my opinion, it's quite advanced with respect to the rest of the world.
And how would you say the pandemic has changed smart cities in terms of its importance?
Yeah, and pandemic has definitely changed the smart cities. There are new solutions like detecting the distances between people, right? So to make sure that social distance is 1.5 meters, right? In some use cases like this, but also it's speed up the digitization of the world in general, digitalization of the world.
Correct.
I mean, without data, you wouldn't have an AI, and digitalization helps to generate a lot of data, and this would unveil a lot of possibility for AI machine learning.
Correct, and I think it kind of highlights the importance of smart cities as a future tool, something which I think as a whole globe, something we need to be able to get through future pandemics or future situations as well. Ivan, tell me, who would you recommend to attend this event? From which sectors and which types of people and positions?
Yeah, I would recommend it to visit for C-level executive, also to the people who are seeing the AI as a business owners, who are seeing the AI as a potential leverage of the next, let's say, development of their companies. So let me repeat. I would recommend to visit this conference to AI enthusiasts, AI business owners, C-level executives. So these are all the people who would help who would understand, learn more, who would find people like-minded, and who would find definitely connections relevant to their future.
Great. And final question, why are you excited about COMEX?
Yeah, COMEX is a very nice place for like-minded people.
Yes.
And it's also a good opportunity to discuss the AI problems, COVID problems, and how the current issues and how they can be solved with AI. So it's definitely the place to visit.
Great. We look forward to seeing you on the 3rd of June, Ivan.
Thank you, Aman.
Thank you.